Hello all, how's it going? Just get rid of one of these, there we go. Hello all, sorted. How's it going? Let's get this going, I need to open this back up again. Let people get in before I start anything. How's everyone today? Let's get this going to warm things up a bit. How's it all going, guys? How's it all going? This project took a little bit to get through, so when we start, I hope you all enjoy it. Hope you can hear us. Sound volume all right? We are live. Yes, everything's live. Right, before we go any further, just about to start on what we're going to do essentially for this live stream is show the project as it started, as it went through. I'll explain the process behind what I've done, how I've created it, kind of taking it apart, the different sections, show you some clips throughout the project that I've recorded whilst making it, some images of obviously working on the project itself, how the project come to life, and then we'll get into the actual unveiling of the finished product. The first image you'll see are the artist renderings from obviously the project artist, which was Shaun LaBrie. It was awesome to work with Shaun on this. He took a lot of time getting it done. So we'll get straight into the first part. So again, what I will do is if there's certain sections where I need to explain something a little bit better, or try not to over-explain certain things, then I will go through it as well. First and foremost, that right here is the artist rendering. That is the image I had to work from Shaun LaBrie. That is the console design. Of course, one thing I wanted to do was kind of bring that to life. So the symbol in the middle is actually separate from the entire design, as you'll see as we progress through. We began on the line work first when it comes to the actual design. I'm going to show you the line work first, and then I'm going to show you kind of the initial stages. So this is what I see when I'm kind of doing all the basics. Divided everything into sections. And then you're left with the artist line work to get the basics done. Now, these images sent across from Shaun LaBrie to myself are relatively larger, about 110 megapixels in size. This is where we start to get into taking the console apart. Of course, this is something that everybody would dread or be scared to do. Don't be too scared. This is much easier. I've got to explain as well, like the Xbox Series X is so much easier than the One X or the PS4 Pro or any console I've modified or taken apart before. So Shaun LaBrie, he draws digitally. I do not. I'm hand artist or airbrush or pens, literally anything, everything for me. But Shaun is a digital artist. I used to work for EA. There's only 2 bolts on the back of the Xbox Series X to be able to take the rear of the console off. We'll get that done first. One is underneath a little black label on the back of your Xbox, which easily lifts off. The other is underneath the, as you can see there, underneath the kind of label on the back of the console there. First time prying it off does take a little bit of work. No, Vim, we're just starting. Just starting. It has 2 little pry hooks on the bottom. Of course, this little plastic pry that I had wasn't really getting to grips with it first of all. Once you've had it off once or twice, then it becomes easier to kind of wedge under. So I just used some metal pries instead. This is the bit that everyone's normally scared of, is trying to take it apart for the first time. I don't blame you. Believe it or not, this was the first time I took it apart as well, which is why it's so difficult. There we go. And that's the back of the Xbox Series X removed. Simple as that. Nothing else to it. It's the only time as well that I haven't decorated the rear of the console, primarily because it's hidden at all times. You will not see it. And this is where we take out the fan. So there's the inside of the console for you. You've got 3 bolts for the large fan at the top, and then the connector that connects it to the circuit boards. What I will do is, once my hands get out of the way on screen, I'm going to show you where the other cables. So you won't see my mouse on screen here, unfortunately. but just above where I've been screwing there, you see a cable, a white cable that goes across the console. You need to remove that. And there's another cable a little bit further down, just before the rubber brace. You need to remove that. And there's another, which is down by that square gap on the right-hand side of the console, that is connected to the USB drive. That also needs removed. You unscrew the stand on the bottom of the console. That gives you access to 3 screws that hold in the entire midsection of the console, which includes the CPU, the GPU, the joint motherboards, the heatsink, and the PSU, the power supply unit. You remove as a little kind of black square with a silver square inside of it there, as you can see on the left-hand side of the console. That's the cover and the support buffers for the Blu-ray drive. So you unscrew that, 1 bolt on the top, 1 bolt underneath under the stand on the bottom. Then you lift off that. You have 2 connectors to remove the hard disk drive. And that removes essentially all of the interior of the Xbox Series X. So you're talking about 10 T8 screws, 3 cables, well, 5 cables all in all, on the main section anyway. 6 if you include the fan. And again, getting the fan connector off for the first time is a little bit tough, but you get it. There we go. And then it just slides out neatly. Whilst we've got it apart, give it a quick dust, quick clean. Yeah, I can understand why people wouldn't want to take apart the console. Obviously, if you're very unsure of it, then don't try it. And you would have no real need to, unless you are modifying it, or something breaks, or a fan's acting up when you're ordering a replacement fan, anything like that. You should be able to do it by yourself perfectly fine. There we go. To be honest, there was a lot less. Yeah, every now and again it's good to just open it up and give it a quick clean. Obviously, for this, the fan and the heatsink, you've got to imagine it draws power through draws the heat from the top and expels it. Sorry, heat from the bottom, or draws cool air from the bottom and expels it through the top to keep it cool. No problem, Vin. Catch up later. So it's gonna get some amount of dust through it at some point, and there's the entire section of the Series X that I showed off before. Let's pause that there. So obviously on the left-hand side there is the giant heatsink. The metal body that surrounds the CPU, GPU, and twin motherboards, which are held together by a couple of screws, of course, and that support brace, which you can see, that prevents it from vibrating or causing damage. That's also in a heat synchronization shell, so it's full aluminium. On the right-hand side, you have, which obviously that big block on the right-hand side is your power supply. The two connectors are what I was speaking about for the Blu-ray disc drive. And obviously, then you've got the rest of the connections there for the remainder of the console. Pretty straightforward. So what we've got here, we'll just go back a second there. So what we've got there, of course, we're all taped up, so nothing is inside that shell anymore. All cables, etc., have been removed. For this particular project, I have not colored the top of the vents over, primarily because, of course, inside of the Xbox, they already have that nice green glow under the top. But also because of the way that the design works, it wouldn't really have went well to have something then wrapped around the top of the same colors. So what I've done is left the top black. But there are LEDs inside of the top of the shell now as well, so that green pops a lot more. Obviously, the next section that you see here from its matte black status is using a white primer, so white automotive primer on the console. There you go. So it's a white Xbox Series X. Again, fully taped up there, including the power supply, including the internals, so the paint does not get inside of that shell, because you don't want paint or paint dust lingering around on the inside of the shell, or catching any of the other internal components, because there are, such as the power supply button, which could have been removed, but I decided to just leave it on for this and just stencil around the actual power supply button. The USB drive was removed, but again, preventing dust from getting out inside, so it's taped out on the internal section as well, so that no dust or paint can get inside of the shell. They're completely sealed at the back, so no dust can get in. Just a nice white base coat to start the project. Obviously, a lot of people will love it white anyway. There we go, some Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch multi-purpose paint. The base coat. So this part here, if anyone has ever had a tattoo, you will know this, or at least you will have seen it quite a bit. So this is when you're doing kind of a little bit more detailed work. You want to get a lot of line work on things. This is the easiest way to transfer it over instead of doing it by hand. So, of course, on the monitor screen here, put the tracing paper over the front of it. Once I've got the segment, the large, because obviously the bits that I showed off at the beginning were essentially one large bit of line work, and I segmented to the exact size of the side of the Series X. It takes a little bit of time, but of course, once you've got the exact measurements down, then that paper fits perfectly. So when you see that fold mark on screen here, on the part of the tracing paper, that is the exact measurement. This little section in here is the exact measurement for the side of the Series X. So of course, what I did then is traced all the lines over back in pencil first of all onto the tracing paper, and then underneath you've got carbon paper, which is again used in tattoo work. So obviously on the tattoo work, you go over with the line work again. So that's twice for the line work there already. Onto the carbon paper, obviously press the carbon onto the tracing paper. Once you've got that, then you can press the carboned lines onto the Series X. Of course, make sure that the Series X has just a little bit of moisture on it there, so just a tiny bit of water. Of course, in tattooing, you would use normally like a clear gel if you've ever had a tattoo. That helps the carbon image stick to your skin before they go over the line work. Same applies here, obviously without using a gel, because that would then wipe off afterwards. Just a little bit of water to ensure there's a little bit of moisture on the shell itself, which can easily dry. Then press the carbon lines down, and then you get the next images. And again, that's the same for each section, so that's 3 lots of line work for every panel. There we go. So you can see there, a little bit of tape left on screen in the background on the monitor. That is the exact size of the shell. And then the line work has now been put on a black acrylic paint pen to make sure it was precise. And started to get some of the basic colors into the design as well there. Throughout just this intro section, I'm not going to be showing off the kind of finished product on there, and it will be blurred if it does come up on screen. So there we go. That's what it looks like when you initially put the carbon lines on. So it's that like blue haze. And I go over the line work again. So that's 2 sections done there. And of course, that's also then a reference line work image, so then I can go back, and if there's any bits that haven't quite copied over properly, then I'm not bad brother yourself. So there's the top image done again there. Here's the line work for everybody for reference. You've got to have treats when you're working as well, as you can probably imagine. There's me Magnum. This was a late night, often 2s, 3s in the morning doing this. There's some more of the line work complete. So as you can see, the line work wraps around perfectly there. There's the full line work stenciled out. So again, 3 lots of line work per panel. Got to go over the lines 3 times. Salted caramel Magnum, Pat. Salted caramel. And there's the carbon paper there, as you can see it pressed on, and then the line work comes off with it. Obviously, here's me. This is the section here where you see me going off the reference image and starting to hand paint. This entire project was hand painted as opposed to airbrush this time around, mainly to get the right mixtures of colors that are required for the project. So obviously there was a lot of, especially in the skies, there was a lot of different blues and greens. In the ground, there was a lot of blues and greens. The tree had a lot of kind of different colors. So it was 3 colors of green on the trees. And then you had white sections, dark gray sections, dark purple sections, blue sections, red sections. So there's a lot that needed intermingled and painted to get it done. As you can see there, there's hand-painted artist brushes there as well. Fine line brushes, thick brushes. Just going through the different sections. As you can see here, the paint pot with very different, you can probably see 1, 2, 3, 4 versions of green there. We've got a dark purple, a light purple, kind of a bluey color, and then a very, very, very light green there as well at the bottom right. So many variants of green just to get a lot of this done and then blend it in. And that is where we jump into the final product. So is everybody ready to see the final project work, the unveiling of the actual finished product, the finished work? Is everyone ready? We're good to go. So everyone like that? What's everyone's thoughts on the finished product then? Does it look good? Go to what you've got now. If I just turn this to the right a bit, there we go. And let's climb over here. There we go. There we go. 2 custom consoles all in one there. The colours was part of the, I would imagine, you can probably imagine yourselves, one of the hardest things to do was get the colours right. To get them just to look like that image, of course, but then make it pop out. Very difficult to translate from, obviously, 3D image to that. But I thought it translated quite well there. And, of course, the logo in the end, which you'll be even more horrified to do. So to get the LEDs through, actually have to drill 4 holes, 4 very thin holes like that, drill the 3 holes through the shell, obviously taking the console apart again, drill the holes through once it's been painted, not beforehand, and then get the LED diodes through the shell itself, and obviously ensure that they emit enough brightness to light the logo up, because without that, of course, I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, but it doesn't give us the same effect. And you'd be very hard-pressed to try and hide a wire from the outside of, obviously on there you can't see any wires, you can't see any cabling. Be very hard-pressed to hide any wires, etc. From the outside and then try and get them in. So it's better to get the cabling done inside. Obviously, make sure it doesn't interact with the heatsink or the power of the console or anything like that. So there's one of the parts of it you've got to be sure of as well. Obviously, then puncturing through the actual shell itself. I hope you all enjoyed this little unveiling. The pictures after this stream will be going on to Twitter. So I will be showing the full high-res images up on there. I don't know whether or not Twitter will actually produce them, because I've taken 108 megapixel photos of the, so these right here, images that you see on screen, even though the stream's in like 1080p, I've taken 108 megapixel photos. Obviously, thanks to the S21 Pro or Ultra, whatever it is, S21 Ultra. 108 megapixel pictures, so there's a lot of detail that will be shown off better on Twitter after this. So I'll put them up there for everybody to have a look at. But yeah, really hope you've enjoyed it. Next project will be a little while from now. Obviously, I'm planning on replacing the Gears 1X here. That's going to be retired and put into a display unit, and replacing it with a Series S. And I'll be looking to have the community choose more of a non-Premier franchise, should we say, for Xbox, because of course Hellblade isn't a Halo or a Gears or a Forza or anything like that. So I want to pick another big first-party franchise for Xbox on a Series S and give that a custom job as well. So, of course, in due course, we'll get that done. Likewise, of course, when the PS4 Pro, which is obviously customized here, is retired and the PS5 comes around, I'll also be doing, again, another custom job on that. But, of course, all in due course. That's going to be really easy, actually, the PS5, because there's just 2 removable shells. I don't have to take the entire thing apart. I just push them off. So that'll be an absolute piece of cake, especially for lighting. Yeah, kind of like potentially Fable, potentially something else. You never know. I was thinking of Avowed as well, but we haven't seen much of Avowed yet, so I'm potentially not having to include that one until we do see more. It depends on when I get a Series S. But yeah, pretty much the same. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this little reveal stream. I'm glad you were all the first to see it. So thank you very much for that. I'll be putting the pictures again, like I mentioned, on Twitter straight after the stream. And don't forget to join us back here again at 8 o'clock GMT 9 o'clock Central European, and then, of course, 4 o'clock Eastern Daytime or Daylight Time for Know Your Creator episode 5 with Boxing Burger. So I hope you all enjoy that. Again, thank you everybody for the support, and thanks for coming across to watch this little unveiling of the custom Hellblade 2 console. I hope you all love it as much as I do. Obviously, it's a lot of work, and we'll see you all later. And of course, tomorrow for the podcast with the Iron Lords returning, if you didn't already know, along with Chris Grinnell. See you all there. And again, thank you very much for joining. See you later, guys.